Hello everybody and welcome to Vlogtober Day 12. This is Queer Cashier and today we are going to be continuing to part 2 of my flourishing into bird love. So yesterday I talked about Niji and Popo, and today we got to get to the rest of the family, and I'm going to try to speed things up so that we actually get to everyone and we don't have to have a day 3. Not that you don't all want to hear about my birds, but you know, being concise is always a good thing. So it's great that I started off this video by rambling. Let's get on with the actual interesting stuff. So this story is about the one, the only Lala. Lala is not my bird. She is the cockatiel that very frequently visits in this video and may be coming over to help guest star. And she is my sister's bird, and she's my sister's baby. This bird absolutely loves her. She lays down on her chest like a little fluff ball and just sleeps on Kirsten's chest and just, oh, it's precious. She's gonna go nuts, happy nuts when Kirsten comes home from the Navy in this winter. And so yeah, that's gonna be great. But I'm gonna tell you the story of her entry into our lives, because it's a very good, very happy, and very alright one of those kinds of stories. So, it was New Year's Eve a year ago, and, or is it 2 years now? I think it might have been 2 years now. Time kind of flies with birds, no joke intended, but, I needed bird food, or we might have needed cat food, or we might have needed fish food, or something like that. But I was home, and my mom, my sister, and myself, we decided to go to the pet store. And it was New Year's Eve. I think I said that. It was New Year's Eve. And the store was pretty much empty, so we were walking around just kind of enjoying ourselves. You know, being at a pet store, they had cats there, they have all the animals and stuff. It was Petco, I believe. And we walk up to the bird section, and we're looking at the budgies because we've all, by this point, fallen in love with budgies. After Niji and Popo and Snowdrop, it was impossible to not love budgies because they are just such wonderful bundles of personality and love and just, oh, they are wonderful. So, our attention got diverted by this cockatiel that was just going nuts playing with her toy. It was this ball, and it had bell in the inside of it, and she was just trying as hard as she could to pull that bell out of the ball. She was reaching in, and it was just so cute. And then she noticed us, and she just there was this instant bond, especially between her and my sister. And Kirsten was like, I'm going to get this bird. And my mom and I were like, okay. And she's like, we're coming back tomorrow and I'm gonna get this bird. And sure enough, the next day we were met with the persistence of, hey, we need to get to the pet store. We need to get to the pet store. I need to pick up, I think her name was going to be Horus, because Kirsten is into lots of Egyptian stuff, or she she's a major history buff when it comes to ancient Egypt and lots of other things too. She's really good at history. She's just one of those kinds of people. And we went back to Petco, and Kirsten went up front and basically just paid for it and said, this bird is mine now. And at the same time, there were 2 other families. I'm confident there was one, but I think there was 2 other families in there that were trying to buy this same cockatiel. And this one, they had already owned cockatiels, and they were looking for another or something like that. And they were all drawn to this bird because she was just so pretty and so playful and so interesting. But Kirsten, she bought Lala first, and Lala came home. And it took a while before Lala got her name. By a while, I mean, it was probably within the same day. But we tried on a lot of different names, like Horus, and I believe Flicky. I forget the other names. I'll have to ask Kirsten what they were, but I had made a joke about the Teletubbies, saying, you know, just name her Tinky Winky. I was like, no, name her Lala. And the name kind of just stuck. I'm not sure if I was the one that suggested Lala or if Kirsten was the one that suggested Lala. I think I was. She probably thinks she was. So, you know, one of us suggested it, or maybe Lala herself just said it. But it's kind of funny because back when Kirsten and I were little, our favorite show was the Teletubbies. Like, we would pretend to be Lala and Poe. I would pretend to be Poe, she would pretend to be Lala, and like, it was... we're total dorks. We've always been total dorks, and we always will be, much to the dismay of everyone around us. So, sorry, getting a little bit of tickle in the back of my throat. The cold's going around. God, yeah. So, yeah, that's how Lala came into our lives. And, next on the list is the most wonderful list of most wonderful wonderfulness is Snowdrop. So, I told you guys yesterday about how Niji unfortunately left this world. And Tampopo was without his friend, and I was without a friend too. My last memory of Niji, or not my last memory of him, but the last time we were sitting bonding, the closest we ever got to being socialized with, like, stepping up and, you know, head scritches and stuff like that with either of the budgies was the last time Niji was out. He was sitting on my knee, and I was taking a nap on the couch, and we were just sitting there chilling together, and it was really sweet. And Tampopo's last memory was probably Niji's... Yeah, so, Tampopo needed another friend because he was lonely, he wasn't acting right, and I read online from the forums that the best thing to do was to try to introduce another budgie so that he wouldn't be lonely. He was friends with Lala, of course. Lala loves him. Oh my goodness, does Lala love him. In fact, at one point, I didn't see this, but my sister did. It was while Tampopo was still alone. He was sitting with his head against Lala's chest, and Lala just had her head rested down on his. It was kind of like she was giving him a hug, or like comforting her, you know, her child. Like, you know, I'm so sorry. Come here. Let me love you. Let me say I'm sorry. And so it was just a really sweet, tender moment. But anyway, we went to the pet store again, my mom, my sister, and I. And it was my birthday and my sister's birthday, October 16th. So Snowdrop has the same birthday as us. Or, you know, that's when we celebrate her birthday. Walk into the store, and there's tons and tons of budgies, and Snowdrop, she stood out, and she didn't stand out at the same time, because there were so many. I mean, when you're looking at a big bunch of budgies, they're beautiful. They are just, and they're so funny to watch. They're so charismatic, and they're just wonderful, wonderful birds. But my final test was I was going to play this song from Undertale, it was Papyrus's theme, and she started dancing to it a little bit, and I was just like, this is the one, this is my child. And when I picked her out, it was funny because my mom was like, oh my gosh, that's the same bird I was looking at. I was like, no way. And she's like, yeah, I didn't want to influence you one way or the other, but she's the one I was looking at. And I was just like, that's cool. And so she came home with us, and instantly, you know, my sister and my mom, they encouraged me to let her out and introduce her to Tampopo and Lala, instead of before, you know, giving her the 3 days of adjusting stuff, because she'd already been with budgies, and I know it probably wasn't the best caretaking decision in the entire world, so I know, but Lala flew over, and Lala's much bigger than Snowdrop. Snowdrop was this baby little itty bitty budgie, and Lala is a cockatiel, so she's bigger. And so all three of us, we were kind of just like waiting there like, what's gonna happen? And Lala reaches over and she preens Snowdrop's tail feather, and since then she acts like Snowdrop's her baby. It's so sweet, and now the three of them, they are just a unit, and they feed each other, they fly around together, they all sleep in the same cage sometimes. They are a unit. They are not happy without each other. They were separated for a while, and Lala wasn't singing as much, and the budgies just weren't as happy. So now that everyone's back together, it's like, well, guess we're just gonna have to keep everyone together forever. And so I guess me and my sister will just have to live together forever. Oh well, oh no, I have to live with my favorite person forever. My favorite, people. I would love to live with, like, my brothers as well. But, yeah. That is the story of, Snowdrop's name. Her meaning. Tanpopo, like I had said yesterday, is dandelion in Japanese. And so I was looking for a flower name for Snowdrop, so that it would be kind of like, just, like, related. I chose the name Snowdrop because it was a flower for, that was supposed to bring comfort in times of grief, and it was supposed to bring friendship, and I was like, here you go, Tanpopo, this is exactly what I want you to have. And so Snowdrop, I kind of graced her, like, with this name, and I was just like, oh, and since then she's just been an absolute blessing, and I am so lucky to have her. She and Tanpopo get along so well. She chases Tanpopo around like she just admires him. She looks at him like he's the sun. Except, don't actually stare at the sun, because that's bad for your eyes and stuff, but she instantly admired him, and she's probably the most tame of the budgies that I've had. She steps up to go home, and she'll step up when she's inside of Lala's cage. All of the budgies, they'd fly over when I have Millet, and we've worked together on trying to do the stepping up and the cuddling, but they're not having it, and I just gotta work harder. Patience and persistence is key. So yeah, there's that. That was how Snowdrop came to be. Well, I mean, that's not how she came to be, biological stuff, eggs and mommy birds and daddy birds, and lots of other, pet store stuff, so who knows what the full story is, but yeah. So, last, but certainly not least, there is no least here, is Jessie and James, and you guys were with me from pretty much, I think you guys were with me from the start on that. Guy came into where I work, he was gonna get rid of these birds, and I was just like, no, the way he was planning on doing it, it was just cruel, and I was not gonna have that, so I took them in, and these poor little birds that had no cuddle bone, no toys, no anything, now they have a much better chance here of being pretty happy. So yes, Jessie and James, Team Rocket, and that's thanks to my sister's friends, and yeah, so after severely revising everything and not telling you like any stories, there's the story of how these 5 babies have come to be in this room, and there will be more in the future, but right now we're gonna stay at 5 because that's all. Even though I have a big parrot cage in the garage, there's not enough room, and I don't spend enough time here. My schedule's not stable enough, and so on and so forth. I don't feel comfortable taking in another bird, just like another bird or a bigger bird, for the time being. I don't know what my sister's planning on doing. I don't think her focus is on Lala, and she also really wants to get a pig. Yes, a pig. Like, oink oink, a pig. So, yeah, there's that. So, there is how my bird family began, and obviously, ever since meeting Kaio and looking into all the different types of birds and just doing research and watching YouTube videos and memes and whatnot, I love so many different kinds of birds. I've volunteered at bird rescues, and I just continue on having a very bird-filled life because it's just a bird-filled life is a happier kind of life. So yeah, well, I'm gonna let you go for today. Got some drawing to do for Inktober. Oh god, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's worse than my vlogs. But I'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then, Queer Cashier out.